In this next demo, I'm going to show you how to create a pyramid and then texture map it with a thing called automatic mapping, which you may want to experiment with some of the basic geometry you may have available in your model. So I'm going to select this, and I'll just move this off to the side, and I'll show you how we arrived at this shape, starting with the polygon cube. So I'll go to Create, Polygon Primitives, Cube. I'll drop the shape inside my viewport, my perspective view, and I'll just scale that up a bit. And now I'm going to select the 4 points at the top of this shape, holding the Shift key. And then I'm going to go to my hotbox, Edit Mesh, and Merge Components to Center. So now I have a pyramid shape. Maybe I'll just grab that and make it a little pointier. Drag the tip up, more of an isosceles. I'll right-click and go back to Object Mode. Now it's just the same as if I were applying a texture to any of the other pieces of geometry we've looked at so far. So I'll right-click, I'll choose Assign New Material. I guess I'll grab a Lambert once again, and I can scroll along here, click on Lambert 7, I'll name that Pyramid. And once again, I'm going to put the checkerboard pattern on it. I'll select it. And I'm going to go to the Create UV menu, and I'm going to choose Automatic Mapping. And what you'll see is a series of blue planes have been generated around your viewport. Now, there's no way to access those, and you wouldn't want to touch them at this point anyway, so I'm simply going to deselect my geometry, right-click, and choose Object Mode. Now, when I select that piece of geometry and then go to my UV Texture Editor and look inside, I can see that it's generated perfect planes for each of those surfaces. So I'll turn off the checkerboard pattern for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line all these triangular UV maps on top of each other so that I can just apply one texture to the group and then one to the base. So I'll start by right-clicking on my UV Texture Editor window. I'll go to Shell, I'll select this triangle here, and I'll hit W. And I want to rotate this perfectly. So you'll notice that a couple of these red, almost circular arrow tools here, and they just let you turn them in either direction. So it really doesn't make any difference as long as we have our triangles all pointing upward like so. And I'm just going to take a bit of a moment here to line these up. I'll right-click, choose Shell, click on that one. I'll move that one in here like so. It could be a little bit more particular perhaps, but I'll do this pretty quickly so you get the idea. And I just hit F on the keyboard to zoom in on it. And if I wanted to now, I could be a little bit more precise by selecting these shells. Go. And a little more precise, and I'll zoom back a bit. And I'm going to marquee select all of them, put them closer to the base. There's the square base. And now I'm going to marquee select all of them like so. I'll move it closer to the center of that quadrant where the checkboard resides. And I'll take the opportunity to scale it up a little bit more so I have my texture map is a little bit larger, which translates to better resolution. All right, so now I will go to my geometry, right-click, choose Object Mode, select it once again, and business as usual, image, create PSD network, make sure it's going to my source images, which it is. I'll name it Pyramid Skin, and I'll hit Save. Once again, I'll click on the Color tab, move it to the Selected Attributes window, and hit Create. And once again, now we're ready to move into Photoshop. All right, so we're back in Photoshop now. And I've opened up my pyramid-skin.psd. And as before, the checkerboard pattern is pretty much superfluous now, so I'll select it. And I'll hit Option Delete to blacken it out so I can see my UV snapshot a little bit more clearly. And once again, I'm just going to go and grab that same texture map I've been using. And I'll paste it in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of place it over this collective group of triangle shapes that we kind of put together, that UV map. So what this means is however I arrange this, it's going to appear on the other three sides as well. So let's scale this down just a bit. Maybe like so. And I'll hit return, and I'm going to save that. Now, if I were to go ahead and reload this in Maya, I'll have black on the base, and a little bit of this blue and red would be on the base as well, and that's not my objective. So all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to mask out a rough area on the left-hand side of my texture map. So I'll throw my layer mask in. I'll get my polygon lasso tool, and I'll select out that area in a very broad way. Get my brush, make sure my brush is 100%, and make sure black is on top. I'll just go in and eliminate the texture map in that area of my UV snapshot. Okay, I'm going to hit Command S to save. I'll turn off the snapshot because I pretty much, well, I think I want the base to be red perhaps. Let's make it another color just so it's clear what's going on here. So I'll throw a blank layer in. I'll get my marquee, and I want to make sure I'm using my rectangle marquee at the moment. I'll make a broad selection around that general UV map. And I think I'll just grab a green so there's a marked difference between our surfaces. Command D to deselect. Turn off the UV snapshot. Command S to save. And let's return to Maya. Select our geometry. And let's reload our texture. So you can see based on mapping all of those similar triangles in one area, we were able to repeat that same texture map, exactly the same on each face. And there's our green base. Let's give it a quick render. And there is our basic approach to texture mapping our geometry. Hope it helped. Ciao.